The chandeliers sparkled, glasses clinked, and laughter filled the air as I stood awkwardly near the entrance of the luxury restaurant. It was my wife's sister's birthday, a grand celebration at a place where even the napkins felt expensive. But amidst the glitz and polished silverware, there was one glaring omission. There was no seat for me. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe a last-minute table shuffle or an oversight in the reservation. But as I glanced around, it became painfully clear. Every seat was taken, every place card accounted for, except for me. Her father noticed my hesitation. With a smirk that cut deeper than words, he raised his glass and said loudly enough for the nearby tables to hear, "Why don't you try that dirty pub across the street? Seems more your kind of place." The guests laughed, not out of humor, but the polite, pitiful chuckles of those who knew their place in the pecking order. My cheeks burned, but I forced a smile. After all, he had always seen me as the man who wasn't quite good enough for his daughter. But it wasn't the father's words that truly shattered me. It was my wife's. She leaned in, her voice laced with venom wrapped in a sweet smile. "It suits you perfectly," she said, dismissing me as casually as one would flick away a fly. In that moment, the illusion of our marriage, the polite conversations, the stage smiles at family gatherings crumbled. I left without a word. The cold air outside felt liberating, compared to the suffocating luxury inside. Across the street, the pub's neon sign flickered weakly, like a dying heartbeat. I entered, not because I wanted to, but because humiliation had to land somewhere. The pub was dim, the air thick with the scent of old wood and spilled whiskey, a far cry from the fine wine and gourmet hors d'oeuvres I had just left behind. But at least here, no one looked at me like I was unworthy. As I sat at the bar, replaying their words, I couldn't help but wonder, how did we get here? I had loved her, not with the grand gestures her family adored, but with quiet consistency, fixing things before she noticed they were broken, showing up day after day, being the anchor when her world got chaotic. But somewhere along the line, that became invisible to her. The bartender slid a glass toward me. "Rough night?" he asked. I nodded. "I've seen that look before," he said. "People who come here don't just need a drink. They need to remember who they are." His words lingered as my phone buzzed. A message from Emily, my wife's cousin, one of the few who treated me like a human being. "I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve that." I didn't reply. What was there to say? But as I sat in that pub, something shifted. The sting of humiliation gave way to a sharper clarity. I realized this wasn't just about a forgotten seat. It was about years of being slowly erased, about being good enough in private, but never enough in public. I wasn't the man they wanted her to marry. I didn't have the pedigree, the polished career, the family name. But I had been there for every tear, every sleepless night, every silent battle she fought. Apparently, that counted for nothing. 2 hours passed. I was about to leave when Emily walked in, coat draped over her arm, expression tense. "I knew I'd find you here," she said, sitting beside me. "You didn't have to," I replied. "Yes, I did," she said firmly. "You don't know what's really going on, do you?" I raised an eyebrow. "Enlighten me." She sighed. "Your wife's been different. For months now, ever since she reconnected with her ex. The family knows. They just won't say it out loud. Tonight was their way of pushing you out, without having to deal with the mess directly." I felt the words like a punch to the gut. Her ex. Emily nodded. "He's at the restaurant right now. Sat in the seat that should have been yours." It all made sense now. The cold glances, the sudden arguments over nothing, the emotional distance that no longer needed explaining. I wasn't just forgotten. I was replaced. "I didn't want to tell you like this," Emily said softly, "but you deserve the truth." Funny how truth, when it finally arrives, doesn't explode. It settles. Heavy, solid, unmovable. "I'm sorry," she added, "but I wasn't angry. Not anymore. Anger requires energy. All I felt was tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of loving someone who had already left me in every way that mattered. I stood up, thanked Emily, and walked out of the pub. Across the street, the luxury restaurant gleamed under golden lights. as if mocking me one last time. But I didn't need to confront her. I didn't need a dramatic scene. Her actions had already said everything. That night, I packed my things. No heated arguments. No pleas for explanations. Just silence. The kind of silence that speaks volumes. As I placed my wedding ring on the kitchen counter, I left a note, not for her, but for myself. You were never meant to fit into their world. And that's okay. Walk away with your dignity. They can keep their gold-plated cages. I choose freedom. I moved out the next day. The house never felt like home. Anyway, weeks passed. She didn't call. Neither did her family. But Emily did, often. She became an unexpected ally, someone who reminded me that not all people wear masks. Through her, I rebuilt. I found a small apartment, nothing fancy, but mine. I reconnected with old friends, rediscovered passions I had shelved for the sake of being the perfect husband. I even started my own small business, something I had always dreamed of but was told wasn't practical enough. The betrayal still stung, but it no longer defined me. Months later, I heard through mutual friends that my wife's relationship with her ex fizzled. Apparently, he liked the thrill of the chase more than the reality of commitment. She was back to being the center of her family's pity, their golden girl turned cautionary tale. But by then, it didn't matter. I had found something far more valuable than their approval. I had found myself. Betrayal has a way of breaking you. But if you're lucky, it also builds you back, sharper, clearer, more unyielding. And sometimes, it starts in a dirty pub across the street.